better future is built by the brave, envisioned by brilliant minds, born from the passions of thousands strong. One that isn't without risk, but protected from it. Safe from all the worries and secure for what's to come. Because a better future with the greatest empires, the strongest communities, and the happiest families will always be worth having. That's why the bold and the fearless understand that recreating something better takes courage and strength. So together, let's start shaping a better future today.
What if your everyday is easier? What if your tasks are faster? What if you never have to chase due dates ever? What if your life is safer? What if your dreams are higher? What if kaya mo na? GCash gives you secure payments, real-time money transfers, accessible financial services, exclusive deals, and a full suite of business solutions para kaya mo na sumabay sa takbo ng buhay. Kaya mo na to stay connected. Kaya mo na magbayad anytime, anywhere. Kaya mo na mag-buy and sell. Kaya mo na to get exclusive deals. Kaya mo na magpera padala. Kaya mo na gawing safe ang future. Kaya mo na abutin ang pangarap. Kaya mo na makatulong, magbigay ng pag-asa. Kaya mo, GCash mo.
Have a good day. It's more than a greeting, but an awesome feeling. A good day is a G-Day, my friend. It's a reward we earn, and then it's also something we can send. A G-Day is a video call to mama to tell her na may view na siya. Daig pang 10 K-drama sa kilig at saya. A G-Day can be sweet, like donuts, with a nice treat to share. Kay Kuya Grab, cause you care. G-Day is shopping. Add to cart if you love it. May freebie pa for ate para di siya masungit. It's a day for sharing, for others to enjoy. Share music, share culture, share pieces of joy. You see, a good day is better when shared sa iba. Kasi nag-enjoy ka na, makatulong ka pa. Mas rewarding ang feeling pagkasama sila, di ba? And maybe, we pray, if we do it this way, this feeling of G-Day can be felt every day. With Globe Rewards, atin ang G-Day every day. Atin ang mundo. Download the new Globe One app now.
A better future is built by the brave, envisioned by brilliant minds, born from the passions of thousands strong. One that isn't without risk, but protected from it. Safe from all the worries and secure for what's to come. Because a better future with the greatest empires, the strongest communities, and the happiest families will always be worth having. That's why the bold and the fearless understand that recreating something better takes courage and strength. So together, let's start shaping a better future today.
What if your everyday is easier? What if your tasks are faster? What if you never have to chase due dates ever? What if your life is safer? What if your dreams are higher? What if kaya mo na? GCash gives you secure payments, real-time money transfers, accessible financial services, exclusive deals, and a full suite of business solutions para kaya mo na sumabay sa takbo ng buhay. Kaya mo na to stay connected. Kaya mo na magbayad anytime, anywhere. Kaya mo na mag-buy and sell. Kaya mo na to get exclusive deals. Kaya mo na magpera padala. Kaya mo na gawing safe ang future. Kaya mo na abutin ang pangarap. Kaya mo na makatulong, magbigay ng pag-asa. Kaya mo, GCash mo.
Have a good day. It's more than a greeting, but an awesome feeling. A good day is a G-Day, my friend. It's a reward we earn and then it's also something we can send. A G-Day is a video call to mama to tell her na may view na siya. Daig pang 10 K-drama sa kilig at saya. A G-Day can be sweet, like donuts, with a nice treat to share. Kay Kuya Grab, cause you care. G-Day is shopping. Add to cart if you love it. May freebie pa for ate para di siya masungit. It's a day for sharing, for others to enjoy. Share music, share culture, share pieces of joy. You see, a good day is better when shared sa iba. Kasi nag-enjoy ka na, makatulong ka pa. Mas rewarding ang feeling pagkasama sila, di ba? And maybe, we pray, if we do it this way, this feeling of G-Day can be felt every day. With Globe Rewards, atin ang G-Day every day. Atin ang mundo. Download the new Globe One app now.
A better future is built by the brave, envisioned by brilliant minds, born from the passions of thousands strong. One that isn't without risk, but protected from it. Safe from all the worries and secure for what's to come. Because a better future with the greatest empires, the strongest communities, and the happiest families will always be worth having. That's why the bold and the fearless understand that recreating something better takes courage and strength. So together, let's start shaping a better future today.
What if your everyday is easier? What if your tasks are faster? What if you never have to chase due dates ever? What if your life is safer? What if your dreams are higher? What if kaya mo na? GCash gives you secure payments, real-time money transfers, accessible financial services, exclusive deals, and a full suite of business solutions para kaya mo na sumabay sa takbo ng buhay. Kaya mo na to stay connected. Kaya mo na magbayad anytime, anywhere. Kaya mo na mag-buy and sell. Kaya mo na to get exclusive deals. Kaya mo na magpera padala. Kaya mo na gawing safe ang future. Kaya mo na abutin ang pangarap. Kaya mo na makatulong, magbigay ng pag-asa. Kaya mo, GCash mo.
Have a good day. It's more than a greeting, but an awesome feeling. A good day is a G-Day, my friend. It's a reward we earn and then it's also something we can send. A G-Day is a video call to mama to tell her na may view na siya. Daig pang 10 K-drama sa kilig at saya. A G-Day can be sweet, like donuts, with a nice treat to share. Kay Kuya Grab, cause you care. G-Day is shopping. Add to cart if you love it. May freebie pa for ate para di siya masungit. It's a day for sharing, for others to enjoy. Share music, share culture, share pieces of joy. You see, a good day is better when shared sa iba. Kasi nag-enjoy ka na, makatulong ka pa. Mas rewarding ang feeling pagkasama sila, di ba? And maybe, we pray, if we do it this way, this feeling of G-Day can be felt every day. With Globe Rewards, atin ang G-Day every day. Atin ang mundo. Download the new Globe One app now.
Globe's R.I.S E is an exclusive event of Globe Business that aims to support enterprises across all regions to gain new perspectives, provide strategies, and share latest insights for various industries. Any information shared during the live stream will be viewable to all the participants in the webinar. Please refrain from sharing personal information such as name, location, contact details, and other sensitive information in our chat box. Globe Business, their affiliates, partners, representatives, and all staff and employees involved in this event shall not be liable for any unauthorized distribution or malicious use of such information. The views and opinions expressed by the host and guests do not necessarily reflect the position of Globe Business and its management, Globe Telecom. Thank you. We will begin shortly. Good day, enterprise partners, and welcome to the first of a series of webinars for Globe Business's R.I.S E, Regional Insights and Strategies for Enterprises, Building a Digitally Connected Future in Real Estate Today. We are excited to welcome you all virtually and encourage you to participate in all our segments in today's session. Before we begin our program, here are some reminders to guide you through the rest of our event. Please make sure you have a stable internet connection for a better viewing experience. Please use the Zoom chat to send in your questions during the panel discussions. Use earphones for better audio quality. We encourage everyone to put your audio on mute at all times. In case you lose connection, please re-enter the meeting room so you won't miss important talks from all our distinguished speakers. For those who haven't registered yet, please visit the link or scan the QR code on screen so you can be pre-assigned to your respective breakout sessions. Innovate, transform, and evolve your business in today's now normal. This is Globe Business R.I.S E. They say the only constant thing in this world is change. And right now, it's all the world ever sees. We live in a time where countries, economies, and industries are rapidly changing, shifting, and developing. As this happens, consumer demands continue to change. And our spaces, they change along with it. With regional lockdowns, hybrid work setup, commercial spaces evolving to meet the demands of the times? Has it ever occurred to you that we can do more to redesign these spaces? Safe common spaces. Better connections. Digitally enabled communities. That is why the real estate industry needs to work hard on meeting these demands. Working around new guidelines. Understanding what consumers need. And making sure that the spaces we're in complement the new world we live in. We understand this reality, and we want to be with you in your journey, bringing you global competitiveness by enabling your business with the right technology. Let's innovate together and emerge from this better and stronger, committed to building a digitally connected future in real estate today. This is how we can help you. R.I.S.E. Regional Insights and Strategies for Enterprises. Introducing your host for today's affair, please welcome Ria Tanwatco Trillo.
Globe morning, everyone, and welcome to Globe Business's R.I.S.E, Regional Insights and Strategies for Enterprises. My name is Ria Tanwatco Trillo, and I am honored to be your host for today's event. Now, it's an early Thursday, and we really appreciate that you're able to join us for today's learning session. So before anything, usually when I host events like this, I'd like to get to know my audience a little more. So for this morning, what I'd like to ask is, what is your purpose in joining us today? I'm sure one of the reasons why you're here is because you're all interested to hear from our distinguished speakers. But apart from that, we'd like to know what are other possible reasons for your participation here today. Is it because you want to learn the latest trends and insights in real estate? Maybe you want to pick up all the important information from the talks. Maybe you're here because you just want to make new connections. Or you know what? Maybe you're here because you just want to take a day out of the office. And that is not a bad thing. Absolutely no judgment, right? So the poll is open and we want to hear from you. So you should be seeing prompts on your screens right now. So all you need to do is just click on your particular answer choice, right? So we want to get to know you a little better, even if we're just connecting in a visual way. So again, are you here because you want to learn the latest trends and insights in real estate? Do you want to pick up all the important information from the talks? Do you want to make new connections? Or do you want to take a day out of the office? All right. So thank you, everybody, for answering our poll. We're starting to feel your excitement. And of course, with our lineup of speakers, who wouldn't be, right? We actually have a very, very impressive lineup today. And whatever reasons you may have for joining us, we hope that we can help you achieve it by the end of the program. All right. So let's take a look really quickly at our poll results. And it says that 69% of you want to learn the latest trends. Well, that certainly is a very good reason to be here. And I do believe you will be able to pick up the latest trends because we will be speaking a lot about that today. All right. So thank you guys for participating. 28% of you said you want to pick up all the important information. Yes, we are going to have that as well. So do stay with us for the entire morning. Okay, so now that we have an idea about what you guys are here for, let's figure out the reason behind this event. How did Globe businesses rise? Well, rise. For the past year, as we know, all industries have undergone major changes to their organizations, and the real estate sector, of course, is no exception. And as these changes happen, consumer demands also changed, together with our homes, our workspaces, and commercial establishments. So now with homes turning into offices, In my case, my home is also a school. You have workplaces minimizing their capacity and commercial establishments evolving to meet the demands of the times. The challenge lies in reinventing these spaces. Globe Business understands this reality, and being in the forefront of business innovation and transformation, Globe Business aspires to be part of your journey towards digitization so you can reach your full potential with access to insights and strategies for your enterprise. And this is how Globe Business R.I.S.E came to be. So today's session is all about building a digitally connected future in real estate today. So get ready for a day of learning because we've invited distinguished speakers to share their national and regional insights, perspectives, and trends in the real estate industry. And what's going to happen is we're going to start with a plenary session wherein we will be discussing a general outlook of the industry, which will be followed by a fireside chat with all our speakers and panelists. There will also be breakout sessions headed by our enablers who will share an in-depth discussion of the commercial and residential verticals of real estate across the nation. So as I said, we have a very busy morning ahead. Let's get things started. Welcoming you for today's event. Please, let's all give some virtual applause to Globe's Senior Vice President of the Enterprise Group, Mr. Peter Maquera.
Thank you, Ria, and hello and welcome everyone. Thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedules to join us today. While real estate is one of the many industries that's taken a hard hit during a pandemic, there are silver linings. It's taught us to reflect on how the customer has changed, how interconnected we all are, and how we must adapt in a way that is sustainable for the communities that we serve so that we may all thrive together in the future. With office spaces, for example, our most recent insighting sessions with our customers showed that the future of work is hybrid. We're hearing permanency of at least 30% work from anywhere, at home, in a hub, a pod, or in a microsite, literally work from anywhere. In the office, if your traditional space allocation was, say, 70% for individual desks and less for common collaboration areas, you now have the opportunity to reimagine how to design new spaces that encourage moments that matter or meaningful interactions to co-create. We also have to uncover that unique and seamless integration to the physical and digital realms so people can collaborate in a more distributed way, whether some are on location or some are remote. This is also an opportunity for us to build more integrated communities. At Globe, we say, the world has gone home. We now do everything at home. We live, we play, we learn, and work from home. Now more than ever, we need to make sure everyone has accessible, reliable, and fast internet to accommodate the entire family for all these use cases. To help customers with data and internet connection, we at Globe have ramped up our efforts to upgrade our network infrastructure by building 2,000 new cell towers and 1 million fiber-to-the-home lines just for this year alone. Another solution we're continuously working on to reach more areas is 5G, which will be able to power the Internet of Things. 5G and IoT, when combined, can feed real-time insights from data gathered from different connected devices, which can be useful in property management, for instance, managing the efficiency of heating and cooling equipment, providing intelligent security monitoring and emergency response, and for tenants, online concierge services, including billing and payments, repairs and maintenance, and even food delivery, groceries, and laundry. Similarly, you can imagine that there are also many 5G and IoT use cases to enable the fourth industrial revolution for office, industrial, and commercial properties. The future digital community is not for Metro Manila to enjoy alone. We all need to invest in digital infrastructure so that more regions across the Philippines can also support jobs for modern manufacturing, supply chain, IT BPO, tourism, and agriculture, among others. We're heavily investing beyond Metro Manila to create new wave digital cities all across the Philippines. Today, we'll go beyond building the traditional four walls to solutions that enable a complete real estate ecosystem that creates sustainable cities attuned to the needs of the customers of a digitally connected future. I'd like to acknowledge our guest speakers who will impart their knowledge and experiences, focusing their discussions on the residential and commercial sectors with Ayala and Ortigas. So we have with us today David Leechiu, President, CEO, Leechiu Property Consultants; Franco Soberano, Executive Vice President, COO of Cebu Landmaster Inc.; Frederick Go, President, CEO of Robinson's Land Corp.; Alejandro Mañalag, Chairman, Co-founder of Habitas Developments. I encourage you to listen carefully as our speakers share their thoughts on the digital communities of tomorrow. Today, we can and we will rise above the new challenges of the now normal. Thank you, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the session.
Thank you very much, Peter. The shift to high customer centricity, integrated communities, and growth beyond NCR, that was truly an insightful and inspiring open. Now, truly, Globe is the perfect partner for the real estate industry in the journey to achieve a complete real estate ecosystem that is sustainable, efficient, and attuned to the needs of customers of a digitally connected future today. So in spite of all the changes we've experienced in the past year and a half, in spite of all the challenges, it would seem there is much to look forward to as well. So before we start our session proper, some of you might be wondering, how does Globe help real estate enterprises become trailblazers in the industry? At Globe, the goal is not only to provide transformative insights from among the best in the industry, but also to know how Globe Business connects you to a world of possibilities. Please watch this.
This is a world we want to live in. Where everything is in harmony and working seamlessly, where we can create beautiful experiences with the right choices and discover new ways to enjoy life. Strong day one connectivity that helps home productivity and business operations. Stable and secure hotspot in public places, and 5G mobile-ready connectivity. A place where we can build not just better businesses, but braver tomorrows. Collaborate, communicate, innovate, and progress with on-site or work-from-anywhere setup. Interactive and seamless virtual learning experiences. Accessible health consultations, and unlimited entertainment options. An environment where families feel safe and comfortable doing things together, enjoying daily activities with utmost accessibility and ease. Where we get to nurture every experience with a strong sense of community. A life that's simple yet rich with wonderful experiences. Remote yet closer than ever. Manifest their dream into reality. Own the future of spaces today.
All right, what a wonderful video. I know you're all excited to meet our speakers for today's webinar, so I'm not going to keep you waiting any longer. Enterprise partners, it is now time for you to rise. First on our list, this gentleman has 26 years of experience in real estate and is considered the leading commercial real estate broker in the Philippines. During his tenure in the industry, he has arranged the lease of more than 1 million square meters of office space and has sold more than $2 billion in real estate. He is a co-founder and shareholder of the W Group, known in the industry for its world-class office buildings in BGC, and he is currently on the board of trustees of the IT and Business Process Association of the Philippines, for where he proved to be instrumental in steering the Next Wave Cities initiative since its inception in 2009. So here to talk to you about the Philippine real estate market landscape, please welcome the Chief Executive Officer of Leechiu Property Consultants, Mr. David Leechiu.
Thank you very much, Ria, and thank you very much everyone who's attending this conference to hear what we have to say about what we think is happening in the property market and in the economy in general. I'd like to start off by giving you a quick summary. So we have been in this crisis for about 18 months, 16 months, and the cases keep climbing, the mutant viruses keep evolving. And I'm happy to say that despite all of these problems and challenges, the property market continues to stay very solid. And I'm reiterating three key indicators. One is the office market continues to do well, in the sense that demand continues to grow. In fact, it is the highest it's ever been since January of 2020 compared to 2020 January. The office demand take-up coming from the BPO sector continues to expand, and today they're about 75% of the total demand from last year. It shows you how strong the recovery is. And so I think we will do much more this year in 2021 in terms of leasing demand compared to what we did in the full year of 2020. Despite the lockdowns and despite the number of cases that's going on. Work from home has surprisingly worked, and it has pleasantly shocked many people that in the Philippines, even in the Philippines, work from home is possible. But in my view, based on what many companies are doing, based on all our clients, people are going to move back to the office 100%. And they're going to do that over phases. Some companies are going to do that faster and some companies are going to do that slower. But ultimately, we are going to be 100% back in the office, in our opinion. And I base that across every company that we service is still paying their rent. Yes, companies have contracted, but most of them are, about 95% of them continue to pay their rent. The total contractions in the market have totaled something like 6-7% total contractions, more than half of that driven by the POGO sector. And yes, there are concerns that the BPO sector contracted, but that's less than 1% of their total footprint here in the Philippines. And if you look at the last 12 months, the BPO sector has been growing, taking up as much as 55 to 60% of total demand and new leases taken up. And because of that, the Philippines, even through COVID, the global COVID crisis, the Philippines remains to be one of the largest markets in the world for new leasing. And where will the Philippines be without the BPO sector? And everyone else in this room listening to this, to all these presentations today and this series of seminars, we're all here primarily because the BPO sector has kept us afloat. The other thing that we have to say is that in addition to the growing demand, we think that that demand number is going to keep rising as the POGO sector opens up in the Philippines again. As you know, the POGO sector had challenges with the government and disputes with the government, but that's been resolved. We are waiting for the POGO law to be activated, and after the POGO law is activated, the other thing we need to wait for is the opening up of the country for foreign travel. And when foreigners are allowed to come back into the Philippines with less hassle, then you're going to see a big resurgence in the POGO sector. I think the POGO sector will come back in a much bigger way than what we saw them do between the years of 2016 to 2019. And that will have a dramatic effect in the economy, a positive impact in the economy, and it will just accelerate the recovery of the economy. 18 months into this COVID crisis, property values have held despite a 10% contraction in the economy, despite a 30% contraction in rental rates. And rental rates across the board in the residential sector and rental rates in certain areas and certain districts in the office sector. And I think that's a very strong testimony and validation that the property market is still pretty solid, despite all the havoc this crisis has thrown upon us. And I think, and judging from the launches of developers and pre-sale activity of buyers, the residential market across all segments are doing well today. Even the low-end market is showing some life. And what is driving that is the amount of money coming from the overseas remittances that continue to flow into the country despite everything that's been said against it. I mean, every institution from the ADB to World Bank, IMF, different banks, all said in the beginning of this crisis that the overseas remittances are going to falter, it's going to get dented, and that has not been the case. I'm very excited that more and more overseas Filipino money is going to enter the country, enter the economy in more meaningful ways compared to the last 30 years, because the overseas remittances will start bringing in more development capital, more savings into this country, and that will propel the country to the next level. What excites me more is that the next 18 months is going to be about the opening up of more infrastructure projects. We've all seen in the last 12 months how excited people were when the Skyway 4 project was opened, and how many people felt tears in their eyes when they went from Alabang to Bulacan in 20 minutes, when it used to take 3 hours to cover that geography. And more infra projects are opening. I'm very excited about the R.I.S.E JG Summit project of Clark, when the Clark Airport opens. That's going to open up the entire tourism industry for North Asia in the Philippines. And it's going to be the gateway for people from Japan, South Korea, China, and many other parts of North Asia to enter the Philippines without the hassles of going through Manila. It's going to connect North Luzon to the rest of the Visayas, where the most fantastic tourism places are available. Bridges, trains are going to open. And when we are allowed out from all these lockdowns, it will be a truly new Philippines. The Calax, which is the longest road network we're going to open up in the next 18 months, will be meaningfully completed in 2022. And that's going to allow more people to live in places like Cavite, Laguna, and the middle class will enter Cavite, Laguna, and that will just drive property prices up significantly in these geographies. This map shows you a population base of 40 million people. And this 40 million people is about to receive the single biggest injection of infrastructure projects the Philippines has ever seen in its history since World War II. And this 40 million people drives 60%. It's responsible for 60% of the GDP of this country. Can you imagine how powerful the impact of that will be to the economy? And like I said earlier in this chat, we've got demand in this yellow line in the office leasing sector. And you can see that the second quarter, it bottomed out, and every quarter since then, it has meaningfully appreciated. This is the growth rate. This is not the absolute take-up. And so what I want to stress there is that even in the height of the global COVID crisis, there were still new leases happening in the Philippines. And many countries envy the Philippines for this, that despite all lockdowns, it did not stop new leasing activity from happening in the Philippines. And we are very much in a path to recovery. And as soon as we find a cure, as soon as more people are meaningfully vaccinated in the Philippines, you're going to see more traffic and more leasing activity, and therefore more jobs opening up in the Philippines. The orange line shows you capital values across the residential sector, and blue shows you the behavior of rents in different districts all across Metro Manila. We are not sharing with you 50 projects or 5 buildings across 4 or 5 months. We are showing you and sharing with you information across something like 520 different buildings across something like 370,000 units across 100 developers. Okay, we're not showing you here in this slide the behavior and of prices in a handful of projects. So yes, there are some distressed deals out there, but the general behavior of the market has been pretty intact. It's done surprisingly well despite 18 months of this virus beating us up. Okay, capital values have stayed the same despite a contraction in the economy and despite a contraction in the in rents. Property prices have held. And what does that tell you? It tells you that the real estate sector is still the best holder of value. And it hasn't just been like this in the last 18 months. If you look at the last 60 years, the numbers show you that despite the impairment of interest rates, inflation, the cost of money, even if you get all that and translate that to net present value, real estate would have still been your best investment in the Philippines, in peso assets. And one of the things that people do around the world is complain about their government in the good times and complain about the government in the bad times. But really that's only because we take many things for granted. And I want to take this opportunity to thank the Department of Finance, led by Secretary Dominguez. I mean, truly, more than anything, the Department of Finance and the economic team led by Secretary Dominguez has managed us through this crisis. And the political capital enjoyed by this government, by this administration under President Duterte, has allowed many reforms to happen despite the unpopularity of many of these reforms. I mean, okay, when was the last time somebody stopped an infrastructure project from happening because of TROs? None of that's happening now. We have to completely appreciate that. And I enjoin you to thank the Department of Finance and the economic team with the central bank, with the PSE, with the SEC to have managed us through this crisis and allowed all of this to happen. And the developers in the room, we really have to accept the fact that the REITs are meaningfully in play, thankfully enabled by the DOF. And the REITs have raised so much money despite the COVID crisis. Valuations in the property market are at an all-time high, validated by the Ayala REIT, validated by the Double Dragon REIT, validated by the Philinvest REIT, and I'm so excited with the Robinsons REIT that's just around the corner. Beck, congratulations in advance. and many other REITs that are coming in the pipeline very closely after coming in this mega world. And this is just the tip of the iceberg, because many more companies will REIT. And this is a testament to how well the DOF has planned all of this, pushed it through to make it happen. It is a testament to how strong the economy is, how much liquidity is there, and how many people are looking for quality assets like Robinson Street to deploy their hard-earned savings into quality assets that will generate quality returns. And with that, thank you for your time and for letting me share with you our thoughts.
Thank you very much, David, for sharing your insights about the Philippine real estate market landscape. It really is inspiring to hear about how resilient the Philippine real estate market is in spite of all the challenges. Now, from the country's leading commercial real estate broker, we move on to the man behind the leading local developer in the Visayas and Mindanao, Cebu Landmasters. He joined Cebu Landmasters in 2010 and is currently responsible for the ground-up operations and leads the project delivery cycle from acquisitions to business development, construction, sales, documentation, customer care, and property management. Prior to joining the company, he worked for 4 years as a project manager at a multinational firm. As an active member of the community, he is a founding member of the Global Shapers Cebu Hub, an initiative of the World Economic Forum. Here to talk to you about the expansion and better customer experience through technology in the region, please welcome the Executive Vice President and Chief Operations Officer of Cebu Landmasters, Mr. Jose Franco B. Soberano.
Hello, good morning, and thank you to our partners at Globe for the invitation to be part of this distinguished panel. As for my topic, it's really a privilege to be presenting to you about regional expansion and maximizing companies' operational efficiency towards providing a better customer experience through technology. Here at CLI, we're really very proud to report that in spite of the very challenging circumstances we are in, we have managed to break records in terms of sales, construction delivery, and even customer satisfaction with the many initiatives that we've implemented at the start of the pandemic, at the height of the pandemic, and even now as we're navigating through the pandemic. And we can really attribute this to our regional expertise, our being hands-on and homegrown. So just some statistics that we want to share. We became an outlier in the industry where we grew sales 14%, 12% higher in 2020 versus 2019. And even this year, we are trending to surpass our record last year. This has a lot to do with how we really pivoted our sales activities last year. We all went digital. We all went very personalized and went the extra mile to support our broker partners, to support the easier affordability levels of our buyers as well. So as you can see here, in the first half of 2020, we were doing mostly sales in the economic segment. So at the height of pandemic, 65% of our sales were from the economic segment.
So these are units ranging from 1 million to as much as 2 million pesos or 1.7 million average. And still, you still see strong sales in the mid-market and just very minor in the high-end segments. But moving towards 2021, when there's a little bit more of certainty, a little bit more of comfort, we see a little uptick in the high-end segment with 21% of our sales here. Still very strong contribution from the middle and economic segments. So now what is really this regional opportunity pre-pandemic or even now as we navigate the pandemic? This housing backlog, which my good friend, Mr. David Leechiu, has pointed out very strongly, is our backlog is really growing. There is no there seems to be that growing backlog, and that opportunity or that challenge is thrown to us developers. So how can we be part of the solution? How can we make home ownership more accessible, more attainable? And it's really to make our products better, more accessible. But in this digital age, it's also to make sure information gets to our buyers easily. And we're talking about local buyers. We're also talking about our overseas Filipinos who are looking for their dream homes. So in Vismin alone, that's a 42% of the pie. So we're looking at a 6.8 million backlog by next year, and 42% of that will belong to the Vismin market. And as for our presence, we are really, we're going to breach our 100 project mark this year. You can see our presence really in the key Vismin cities. So when we say key Vismin cities, these are regional hubs on their own. No? Cebu, catering to the whole Cebu Island. In terms of economy, trade, education, we're talking about Cagayan de Oro, catering to northern Mindanao. We're also referring to Davao, as the central economic, educational, cultural corridor of the south of Mindanao. We're talking about Western Visayas, Iloilo, Bacolod. So as one of my recommendations to fellow developers or aspiring developers coming into the Vismin region, these regional hubs are really ripe, and there's lacking supply. So we are looking at this region continue to grow very strongly now in the coming years. What we're very proud of here during the pandemic is we never stopped. In fact, we felt it was our responsibility to continue pushing forward by sustaining construction, making sure livelihoods are sustained. And this has led to our customers being very happy because we were able to turn over several projects in Cagayan, Cebu, Davao amidst this pandemic. So all in all, our construction is actually back to an average of 97%. Now, with some just encountering restrictions in MECQ or a heightened GCQ. As for CLI, we're really moving into master planned townships and business districts because in the new normal, investors, residents would want to live close to where they work, enjoy near where they work, and for also schools and educational institutions to be near where they live. So we have our Davao Global Township. We have our Mingmori Techno Hub. We have our recently announced partnership with Xavier University with our Manresa Township and the new location of the Xavier Masterson campus. And we have our upcoming Mandaue Live Township as well. So how did we leverage on digitalization? How did CLI, as the regional leader in Vismin, pivot and leverage on digitalization? So first and foremost, it goes back to, there is the technology, right? But the technology should not separate too much from the actual customer service. So we really make sure that these apps reach our buyers, or there's an option for that human experience to be there. So we actually created a mobile app exclusive for CLI homeowners and sellers. So the CLI Masters Portal really allows buyers to access their statements, access their construction progress. You can even schedule your turnover inspections there, reach various departments. And when you reach the various departments, what we make sure this app does is those concerned departments are able to respond promptly to these buyers. So it's like our buyer's way of saying, CLI is with you. You carry CLI and your investment with you because this has a record also of your investments, your payments. So we launched just at the height of the pandemic, I think 2 months of development. And I'm very happy that majority of buyers have installed the app. At the same time, we created a buy a home microsite for all our promos. So, because what we did during pandemic was we really made our projects more affordable because we always say that the home is really the best security because this is where we're spending 90% to 100% of our time now. So what we did was understand the affordability level. So we have promos that allowed home ownership at only 4,000 to as much as 6,000 pesos a month. These are our economic housing units. But at the same time, how would buyers across the Vismin region, even abroad, take notice of this? So we have a microsite that captures all the different promos, terms, conditions. It's regularly updated with the 20 to 30 ongoing projects that we're selling. And this paved the way for our record-breaking sales during the last months and at the height of the pandemic. At the same time, right, when you have all these promos, we're asking buyers to invest millions of their hard-earned savings. Now, how can we replace that actual immersion of units? No, I mean, buyers are hesitant to go to the sites. They're even hesitant to go to showrooms, not just as precautionary measures. So what CLI did, we with several developers invested in virtual tours. I mean, you would be surprised how amazing these virtual tours can become. It really allows the buyer to play around, like move around through the site, rendered lobbies, rendered amenity areas, even very accurate dimensions and finishes of the room units. So we've deployed this in all the projects we've launched this year. And this allows us to say that we're doing a responsible thing because we want to walk our talk, right? We're selling a very affordable product, very good quality product, but at least the buyer really saw and understood the package that was offered through this virtual tour. So at the same time, how do developers really measure success? For us, we put a very big premium or key success factor in turnover delivery. Now, this is where customer satisfaction is achieved. When you turn over the key, is when you achieve. Thankfully, in the places we've turned over like Cebu, Cagayan, Davao, there are still several physical inspections. When quarantine levels reach the lowest quarantine restrictions, and we have a lot of important measures, health and safety protocols. But in the absence of that, we have this amazing virtual turnover experience that you can book through our online platform. And we've delivered several units over this virtual turnover experience. So going back to, how can we continue attaining customer satisfaction? CLI has built almost 30,000 units across the Visayas Mindanao. How do we continue connecting with our prospective buyers, current buyers, and even our homeowners who have lived with us for more than 10 years or even 20 years. So we have a messenger chatbot because we receive hundreds of messages on our Facebook page, just so we are able to respond instantly. And when it will reach a point where the queries need a human intervention, then we have dedicated staff who will respond immediately to that. As we veer away from these live selling events, just as we're doing now, I'm proud to be part of a distinguished group of industry leaders. Normally we would do this face-to-face. I still look forward to those events where we have a face-to-face forum so we can interact. But while we're putting that aside temporarily, virtual home fests or festivals are the way to go. And this is our Home Fest 2021, where we've generated so much interest, so much sales. I guess it's in how we curate the microsites, how the information is easy to read and interpret for our buyers, and making sure that that human aspect is there. Once the buyer is interested, so there is that readily available human or customer service assistance to come in. And lastly, and I thank Globe for inviting me here so that I can take this opportunity to really express my gratitude of this innovation. So we were approached by Globe maybe just before the pandemic started, and we were thinking of when buyers move into their units, there's actually no internet yet. They have to apply. They have to choose their. And it takes some time. It takes a few months or before their connections are ready, installed. The provisions are there, but it's the actual when will that modem and the connectivity arrive. So Globe and Cebulan Masters wanted to narrow that down. So we are pioneering in the BISMIN with this built-in Globe at Home broadband plan. From CLI, it's us offering free 100 Mbps internet subscription for more than 600 of our buyers in our successful Mantra residences. And from Globe's side, as early as now, as we're constructing the building, and even 3 years before we are done, they're already planning the provisions, the telco areas, such that when the buyer moves in, that 100 Mbps Globe line is ready. And what I like here is it allows me, and Globe to really push ourselves, double commission very well, test this very well. So when the buyer arrives, it's work from home. It's the kids can do their virtual classes uninterrupted. We're just future-proofing this, and this is really one of the important needs in the new normal. Connectivity is a necessity. If I would say home is a necessity, connectivity is a very important necessity. This parang proactive step, with a built-in broadband. When you move in, it's there, and CLI takes care of your first year free. This generosity from both CLI and Globe, it's good for the buyer because it shows that we care that you don't have to worry when you move in. You can work right away. Your students can study right away, and you can enjoy all the streaming to keep us up to date with the latest trends, news, and technology. So just to wrap this up for us, I'm proud to say we in CLI are really a customer-oriented, community-first type of developer, and that has allowed us to grow. But in the last 1.5 years, we're very proud to say that we're a customer-first, community-oriented, but also a technology-focused company. So once again, with CLI Masters Portal, it allows us to stay connected and up-to-date with our buyers. So the Buy at Home microsite reaches new buyers, educates new buyers for the urgent need for home ownership. So with CLI Virtual Tour, we allow our buyers or prospective buyers to immerse in the project without the need for physical visits as we navigate the current circumstances. So in Clio, our chatbot is about responsiveness. Now, we cannot, we have to be there for any query, for any concern. For the CLI Home Fest, it's sustaining momentum. So we were generating good leads. Now we have this Home Fest that, where we have good promos and enable the gift of home ownership for more people. And of course, the last one is how do we innovate for the new normal? How do we future-proof so that this tech-enabled customer service continues and grows? So I'm very proud that we are able to pioneer this in BISMIN now with our Globe built-in broadband. So with that, I'd like to thank our partners at Globe and my fellow panelists for allowing me to share from a regional perspective here in BISMIN and how we can continue pushing forward with the help of technology. Thank you very much.
Again, salamat, Franco, for sharing your regional expertise with us. It was also, again, really inspiring to see how your company used digitalization to enhance and improve customer service and customer experience. From one industry leader to another, our next speaker will talk about new normal residential disruptions, how the company continues to lead through technology. Our speaker joined Robinsons Land when it only had 5 properties in its roster and built the business to become one of the country's leading real estate companies with a diverse portfolio of lifestyle centers, office developments, residences, housing subdivisions, hotels and resorts, industrial and logistics facilities, and destination estates. He is currently the chairman and president of Altus Property Ventures Inc. and chairman of the upcoming Robinsons and Commercial R.I.S.E. Inc. and the Luzon International International Premier Airport Development Corporation, which is the operator of Clark International Airport. He also serves as the Vice Chairman of Directors of Robinsons Bank Corporation. Our next speaker is none other than the President and Chief Executive Officer of Robinsons Land Corporation, Mr. Frederick Go.
Thank you, Ms. Ria. Good morning to all the attendees. It is an honor to be invited to this event. Thank you, Ernest, and the entire team of Globe for having me. More importantly, thank you for the services and business solutions you provide in support of digitalization. The COVID-19 experience has dramatically changed so much of how we live. In the real estate industry, three fundamental shifts have impacted our property developments: the increased focus on health and wellness, the growing importance and role of our homes, and of course, digitalization. We have been pushed over the tipping point. Digital adoption has taken a quantum leap, and we at Robinsons Land continue to introduce exciting innovations across our businesses to keep up with the times. We aim to create sustainable living experiences that are supported by digitally enabled lifestyles. For us, this means making beautiful, well-designed homes that are equipped with functional, modern amenities to cater to evolving customer needs and preferences. So how exactly do we do this? First, we provide expansive outdoor areas and abundant green spaces as much as possible. Due to the threat of the virus and the resulting pressure placed on health and wellness, homeowners have increasingly preferred to live among green open spaces. This attractive feature presents a direct health benefit, enhancing physical, mental, and emotional well-being. Our master plan subdivisions, including the Forbes Estate Lipa, Grand Tierra in Tarlac, Brighton Baliwag in Bulacan, Springdale Pueblo Angono in Rizal, Brighton Puerto Princesa in Palawan, and Brighton Bacolod, feature expansive outdoor amenities and abundant green spaces, making them ideal homes for families to start a good life. Our condominium projects are likewise designed with more open spaces and balconies. The balcony is the unit's access to fresh air, an extra space for relaxation, and a small space for a small garden. Second, we curated the home and equipped it with modern technological features to serve various purposes. Since the beginning of COVID-19, our homes have been serving as makeshift workplaces, schools, gyms, and more. And many of us are spending more time in them than before. As a result, there has been a fundamental shift in what people perceive as priority features in the home. In view of this, we have equipped our master plan subdivisions with fiber internet connection to support working from home, online distance learning, and digitally enabled businesses. For our condominium properties, we have updated our unit plans to include a work or study area. We have also taken into consideration the requirements for a convenience outlet, lighting, and its relative location from the internet source to ensure seamless connectivity. Our future residential projects will have exclusive spaces that may serve as an extension of spaces or for whatever other purpose the resident may want to use it for. We are also introducing a smarter way of living. As a matter of fact, we are transforming our condominium units into smart homes to support the fast-paced, digitally connected lifestyles. From switching on lights to unlocking the main door through an app, or monitoring the energy consumption of smart appliances, RLC Residences is providing innovative ways to live conveniently. In this regard, our partnership with Globe, which provides our residents with high-speed, reliable internet connection, helps us deliver an enjoyable customer experience. In fact, some of our recently turned over projects, including Chimes Green Hills, the Magnolia Residences, and the Radiance Manila Bay, among others, allow residents the option to subscribe to a Globe Fiber account 1 month before they move in. Third, provide virtual solutions to connect with our customers and address their needs, streamlining the offline to online customer experience. Now that everyone is used to shopping online and having parcels delivered to their doorstep, we have rolled out smart lockers for contactless delivery. Residents can rent and designate a locker where the couriers can securely drop their parcel with the help of an app. From the slide you see, you will note that the first smart lockers we rolled out are in the Magnolia complex. Moreover, we have also adapted to the new normal by designing solutions based on the different touchpoints in the customer journey. For awareness, we launched a new website with a better user interface with additional features to engage potential buyers. The website features virtual showrooms, information about our condominium projects, floor plans, and a home investment calculator. It also has a section for visitors and interested home buyers to reach out to us via chat or email for online viewing, appointments, and inquiries. Aside from this, because quarantine restrictions have essentially eliminated in-person interactions, we are producing webinars and conducting various online events, such as this, in lieu of traditional marketing and selling. Social media platforms are being maximized to showcase R.I.S.E Residence's product offerings through virtual property preview events, audiovisual presentations of various projects, and online interviews with industry experts and practitioners. Through these efforts, the company not only ensures productive engagements with both current and prospective homeowners and new buyers, also able to protect the health and safety of our sales force. In addition, we have rolled out several digital tools to make life easier for our customers. Customers defined as both internal and external. For our brokers or agents, buyers, and for our residents. As a starting point in the customer journey, when our brokers present to potential home buyers, they can now use what we call the seller's portal to check which units are still available for sale and to compute how much a unit is after all charges and discounts. Once the broker has successfully closed a deal, he can reserve the condo unit through the portal and upload documents to book the sale. The seller's portal also has a section for the online payment of the reservation fee. We believe this tool is of great help in enabling informative discussions with customers and supporting our brokers' productivity and performance in a virtual environment. As soon as a purchase decision has been made, the seller's prospective client is now called a buyer and is given access to a buyer's portal. Through the portal, the buyer can access his various information such as his official receipts, he can view his statement of accounts, his balance of accounts, pay for monthly amortization fees, and submit documents such as remittance slips or any of the required forms for enrollment for auto debit arrangements. As soon as the buyer moves in or receives turnover of his condominium unit, he is now called a homeowner who will now move from buyer's portal to the My R.I.S.E homeowners portal. If the buyer rents out his unit, his tenant will also have access to the portal. So My R.I.S.E provides homeowners and tenants or residents 24/7 access to condominium information and services on their devices. They can file requests for documents and services such as gate passes, repairs and maintenance, pay for their association dues, and of course, they can pay their association dues conveniently via online channels such as GCash. The portal also provides access to the RingRob Concierge. Our RingRob Concierge is a digital concierge platform that lets a homeowner or resident book services for daily essential needs like water delivery, laundry, home repairs, and various services such as cleaning and disinfection of their unit, aircon installation, aircon cleaning, repairs, etc. Again, residents can opt to use GCash to pay for these services through the RingRob Concierge. Throughout this pandemic and beyond, RLC Residences is empowering every homeowner and resident to live their best life. Through technological innovations that complement our beautiful and well-designed project, RLC Residences will continue to provide better customer service and a living experience unlike any other. The outlook for real estate continues to be promising. The real estate industry has started to show strong signs of recovery this year. With the continuous rollout of the vaccines, we expect real estate to further improve next year when majority of the population would have been vaccinated and we would have achieved a certain level of herd immunity. While this unprecedented event has hastened technological adoption by maybe 3, 5, or 10 years, there is still so much potential that lies ahead. The future of real estate and townships will be smart cities powered by 5G technology. We think that 5G will be the enabler that will tie devices, buildings, and cities together. For our residents, this means a new life of comfort, connectivity, and convenience that enables new and smarter ways of living and working and studying, etc. While we are seeing an increase in the demand for integrated mixed-use developments that offer expansive green spaces, cleaner air, sustainability, and utmost convenience, our residents within the Bridgetown, Sierra Valley, and Montclair destination estates can plant their roots within these communities as they start their careers. They can create lasting family bond and watch a new chapter of their lives unfold. We will only see this promising future come into fruition if our industries work together. The telecoms industry that powers our digital technologies play a big role in bringing innovation to the people we serve and in shaping what future communities will be like. Again, thank you very much to everyone.
Thank you very much, Frederick, for graciously sharing your expertise with us and your company's successes, specifically in the residential property sector. You've shown us how essential it is to recognize the consumer's needs, especially when it comes to, as you said, comfort, connectivity, and convenience. Now, we've heard from three of the brilliant leaders in the industry. Now, let's learn more about real estate investment trends and insights in Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao in the eyes of our next speaker. He has 30 years of experience in both actual selling, since he started as an agent, and in breeding new leaders as a top executive of some of the top major real estate corporations. As one of the most recognized industry icons in the country, his expert advisory services are often engaged by both investors looking for good deals and developers to train their sales force. His signature program, the Shark Principles, among his other tried and tested modules, were designed to mold agents to practice responsible real estate while dominating competition. Everyone, please welcome the chairman and co-founder of Habitas Developments, Mr. Alejandro Manialak.
Thank you very much, Ria, and thanks to Globe Business for giving us this opportunity to share our observations about the trends in Philippine real estate for the past 15, 16 months under this pandemic. COVID challenge hit us really hard, but somehow we still have to be a little thankful that our economy was somehow at its strongest when the challenge came. Plus the fact that the Filipinos are not really new to crisis. We've gone through and learned from the different crises that we have experienced every year, maybe for the past 20, 30, 31, 31, 32 years. But actually, and that shows how resilient the Filipinos are. But actually, we were already due for a market shift, and I've been talking about this since last November, even if the pandemic did not happen. Although it would not have been as fast and as drastic as this one. You see, prices were getting too high and too fast, especially in certain areas that were driven by a lot of foreign speculative purchases. And somehow it was also a blessing, since the ordinary Filipinos can no longer afford to buy in some areas, the prime areas where the prices have gone beyond their reach. But the right priced projects in many areas have performed quite well in the past 16 months. But actually, the more devastating virus that really hit us was the virus of negativity and fear, that virus of fear. It is actually for this reason that we came up with the only vaccine for this virus of fear and negativity is positivity. That's the reason why we came up with our own digital newspaper, which is called the Real Estate News Philippines, or Real Estate News PH, where we gather the positive developments that's happening all over the country, and we gather them in one paper every day so that we can share with everyone the good news and some opportunities that's happening all over the country. You see, there have been challenges, very big challenges in leasing. You have declining sales, you have increasing vacancies, and of course, tourism which was very badly hit. However, there were some segments. There were some segments that got a lot of attention during the pandemic. The upscale markets, the affluent markets, have been buying properties, of course, searching for very, very good deals or fire sales. Fire sales, say, where that you may have heard a lot during the past few months. The outskirts, the suburbs, have been very much, pretty much in demand. You see, areas where you have, let's say, we call it the reefs and ridges, and prime suburbs, and you will see very high demands in areas of, let's say, Santa Rosa, where you have, let's say, West Grove, as far as, let's say, Nasugbu. In Batangas, you have Talisay, Tanawan, Laurel, Tagaytay, and Calatagan. Those reefs and ridges. Now, what were driving this demands? Aside from a lot of factors, the three major drivers would be, of course, the population growth. We still have the sexiest demographic profile, and we have a big base of potential buyers now and potential buyers in the coming years, with average age of about 24.7 and only about 3.5% of age dependents. We have a big base to support the aging population. And the buying age now has gone down, before from 35 to 39. Now it's gone down to, you'll see buyers buying from starting to invest at around 22, 23. Why? Because of the higher income capacity, plus it was matched by the developers' friendlier payment terms. And then, of course, as discussed by a lot of consultants and other research firms, that the BPO sector and outsourcing sector has grown despite the pandemic. And this is also a chart I borrowed from Collier's. Now, another very exciting driver, which has kept a lot of developers afloat during the past 15 months, were the OFWs. Maybe you're wondering, I heard there were a lot of OFWs that were repatriated, about less than 500,000. But a lot of them were repatriated during the first 2.5 months or 3 months. In fact, during that time, June 24, there was a headline by Dole saying that they were expecting a 40% drop in remittances, which never happened. July, it showed growth already. July, August, September, and by the end of the year, it only went down by less than 1%, or 0.8 to be more accurate. 0.8, but during the first quarter two of 2021, it has already shown growth, and they were expecting this remittances to grow until the end of the year. This will be sustained. Now, what's interesting is that which areas are growing, not only in terms of population, but in terms of development. You will see Region A, the areas which I mentioned earlier, Region 4A, led by Batangas and Cavite, and then Region 3, and Pampanga, Bulacan. Today there are a lot of good news happening in those areas. Just today we have or this week we have the news about the Bulacan Aero City by Palafox and R.I.S.E. So again, in the southern region, you have Region 5 and 6 and 7. So areas like let's say from Cebu, Mactan, Iloilo, Bohol, Cagayan de Oro is growing really fast. Butuan and Bacolod. One of our developers here, one of the speakers here, who I think have experienced their all-time high during the peak of this pandemic. And why? Thanks to not only their creative projects and fine offerings, but also their capability to do online transactions. See, expect more growth in these areas. And why? What is causing this growth? You will be surprised that maybe because most of the Filipino OFWs are coming from these areas. Now, people are moving, this population and moving, and lifestyle is changing. What is driving this? What are the influences that drives this population to move in a certain direction? Well, there are three major factors. One is infrastructure. We have fantastic roads now. Now you can travel from the south going, let's say from Batangas going all the way to La Union, all highways, all connected highways without passing through the small towns and heavy traffic, all highways, just like driving in the other first world countries. And logistics, everything you can order everything from wherever, any food you want, all the essentials, groceries, fish, vegetables from the palengke, you can already order, right? And also this very important thing that binds this all is technology, connectivity technology. This is one very important tool that made real estate afloat during this very challenging times. Connectivity. Imagine if we were stuck in our homes without the internet, without connectivity, without technology. What would happen to us, right? Now, thanks to technology and connectivity, the buyers and the sellers, the developers, the brokers, investors were able to still do business. The agents were able to do virtual tours. They were able to market their projects and listings to thousands or hundreds of thousands of potential customers, not only here in the Philippines, but all over the world. There were virtual tours. Developers have very impressive presentations. They can do live tours. They can do augmented virtual reality. And a lot of them have already positioned themselves, even prior to the pandemic, to do online transactions. Documents are sent online, signed digitally, and payments are sent online. Trust issues now with sending money online has been greatly reduced. No? Before, nobody was using Gcash. It's been an old platform. It's been there for many years, I think more than 10 or 12 years, but nobody was minding it. Now, almost everyone is doing Gcash already. Now, also, buyers can search for properties online through several platforms. They can also get updated and validate what the agents are telling them by searching online. Now, this is also one of the services that's being provided by realestatenews.ph. You can check out a lot of things that you want to know about real estate, legal stuff, taxation, all the developments and tips, advices. So everything that will help you decide when you're investing in real estate. Now, post-pandemic trends that we have seen and we feel that will be continuing even after the pandemic, people are looking at growth areas away from the city crowd but close to essentials. Now, landed properties are getting this preference, healthy environment, and a lot of open space, proximity to outdoor recreation, running, jogging, trekking, hiking, biking, even horseback riding, fishing, windsurfing, those things. Minimal enclosed areas, the lobbies, the elevator lobbies, the hallways. No? They prefer now private amenities. They want more space per peso, and most especially, they want very strong connectivity. So these are the things that we have seen, and we're thankful that this opportunity was provided to us, was given to us. Thank you very much. And I hope we will all learn to live with this virus safely. I know that this will not go away, but we just have to learn to live with it safely. Stay safe and stay healthy. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Andy, for giving us an outlook on investing in regional real estate developments and for also showing us the huge potential and the huge opportunities that exist, where they are and why they're there. So thank you to all our leaders. I'm sure the audience has learned so much from your presentations, but I'm sure there is still so much more that they'd like to know. So everyone in our audience, this is your chance to ask questions. So to send in your questions, especially Globe Business Product related inquiries, please type in your question followed by your name and company in the chat box, and a Globe representative will be ready to answer your queries. And we'd also like to remind everyone, if you haven't registered yet, please do register by visiting the link that you see on the screen, or you can scan the QR code so that you can join your chosen breakout rooms later on. If you're not able to register, you will be randomly assigned to a breakout room, and that might not be the one that you want to be in or attend. So please do register. So once again, I would like to call back our gentlemen, David, Franco, Frederick, and Andy. Also here to join us, let us also welcome the Senior Vice President for Technology and Service Integration under the Network and Technical Group of Globe Telecom, Mr. Manny Estrada, and of course, the gentleman behind the success of Globe Telecom Inc., none other than President and CEO, Mr. Ernest Cu. All right, gentlemen, good to see you all there, even if at least just virtually. It's my honor to share this stage and this platform with you. And we know that you all have very hectic schedules, so we do appreciate you joining us. In your talks earlier, we heard insights and trends of the industry from national and regional perspectives. Now we'd like to pick your brains a little more for our fireside chat. So gentlemen, are you ready? Are we game for this?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much for having us.
Thank you very much.
Awesome. All right. Okay, so maybe we'll start with Ernest. Given that this is the overall theme of today's event, and we've been hearing it all morning, we'd like to know what comes to mind when you hear "build a digitally connected future today." How does that apply to Globe, and what does that look like to you?
Well, at Globe, actually, that's part of our mission, is to bring about digital technologies that solve everyday people's lives, right? And to do that, you need great connectivity as the main layer. It's table stakes, it's hygiene. Without connectivity, none of the digital enablement can actually happen. And that's one of the reasons why we're putting up this particular session, is to kind of educate developers, understand, give them an understanding from our point of view on how we can do this together. Once that layer has been built, and connectivity is now ubiquitous, it's now stable, it's now the right kind and quality. Globe can then continue to build solutions on top of that particular layer of connectivity. We built Gcash, for one thing, a fintech unicorn in the Philippines that provides you with pretty much all of the financial services you would ever need, all from your phone. But again, to do that, you need great connectivity. We have Consulta MD, which is your teleconsultation. You can facilitate medical care through that particular app. We have also things that in the works like Pure Gold, which is our joint venture with Pure Gold. You can order your groceries directly online and pay for it via your GCash. And many more to come. At Globe, once we've built that connectivity, once people have their smartphones, there's many things we can build, given the assets we have, about information, about the marketing capability and the capital that we have to bring about many, many more solutions that make people's lives easier on a daily basis.
Right. Frederick, what about you? In the context of the real estate industry, how would you explain a digitally connected future? Because you already gave us some great examples earlier.
I think it would be a world where everybody was effortlessly connected to the internet, to data, to mobile. I think right now, the world is still you're still chasing signal, or you're chasing good Wi-Fi. So to me, the future should be one where it is really seamless. There's speed, there's convenience, there are solutions, and they're all so readily available to the consumer. No? And I think that Globe and Gcash are providing a lot of those solutions today. But I guess in the future, I'm looking at it to be effortlessly, seamlessly connected.
Yes, that would be ideal. And while connectivity has improved by leaps and bounds, as you said, there's always room for improvement. But I'd like to get a technical perspective of a telco. So Manny, maybe for us, how can you explain building a digitally connected future today from a more technical point of view?
Well, again, as earlier stated by Ernest, when we talk about the digitally connected future, it's really the people, the users, the consumers, the Filipino people able to leverage on digital connectivity such as 4G, 5G, fiber broadband, which are very fundamental elements to launch anything on top of it. Today we talk about work from home, study from home. What I am thinking of is really more about anything from home or anything from your offices. We're talking about such things as Internet of Things, which allows you to monitor the condition of your different appliances, your utilization of energy, your water consumption, even your security. We're talking about machine-to-machine communications where you can actually automate turning on of your lights or your air conditioning when it's necessary and when not necessary. We're talking about AR and augmented reality and virtual reality to augment work from home experience or study from home experience. And in the real estate now, I think it is happening, starting to happen. And then we start talking about being able to prepare for that in the future. No? And when you say building a digital connected future today, to me, having looked at technology strategy for quite some time, it's really planning ahead and looking ahead and making sure that the fundamental and basic components of a digital ready future are included as part and parcel of any development that you do today. So you cannot simply say, let's go into 5G, but in reality, before you even went into 5G, you started preparing the network 2 years ago. Even when we started to go way longer in 4G, it was preparing it for 2 years ago. Why? Because then you cannot simply go into the technology itself. You have to be able to leverage on existing assets, understand what it takes to adapt to a new technology, build it now, and then start moving into the future. And that has to be part and parcel of the development of anything in the real estate or property development. And for this to really happen, you have to be able to do an early collaboration, not just with your GenCon, but also with your digital service provider partners like Globe Telecom. And the get go is really very, very important and crucial to build even the master planning and development stages.
Right. You really need that foresight and years of advanced planning. Building a digitally connected future, obviously, it's not without its trials. So I have a question for David. David, nationwide, what are the current challenges in the real estate industry that you see, and how are these addressed with the new technologies?
Yeah, I think the rest of the country is transforming in very quickly from a very, very rural environment to something that is more, I would say, township driven. So companies like Robinson's Land and others like Robinsons. So there are very few companies like Robinson's Deck. So they're really transforming the environment so that there are many things that we see in the first world that we're now seeing in the provinces, like sidewalks, lighted streets, glass buildings. For a time, for example, Davao had the tallest buildings in Davao were only 5-10 story buildings predominantly, and now you're starting to see 30-40 story buildings. You're now starting to build communities that were not possible before, and the building of communities will then attract talent, and that talent hopefully takes the generation that we have today to a much higher level of living, much higher level of productivity, and much higher level of education.
Right. I love that. I love that. Now, Andy, David discussed the national challenges, but maybe you can talk to us a little bit about what's happening in the regions. Can you share with us what are the challenges in the local and regional operations? And again, how can these be addressed with new technology?
Okay, in the regions, it also depends on the type of project that you have. Like, for example, right now, since bubbles have been the in thing, people would like to live in places where you have mixed communities, wherein you can move, work, play, and maybe shop, study within that bubble. I remember in the early years of Robinson's 2002, I think it was the first one to introduce in Metro Manila, the vertical projects beside the malls. I think they were the first ones. And then right now, if there's a bubble, you can still move around. You go to the essentials. Everything is there. And this was brought already now to the regions. And this is also, I think, where the Cebulan Masters is taking the lead. And this is the reason why they were doing very well in their projects in Cagayan de Oro, Bacolod, Butuan, because they're providing this one mixed use communities. Now the challenge would be, let's say, in the horizontal affordable housing. A lot of there's a big market, especially for the past year. The market that drove us was the OFWs, and online transactions were made possible. Uh, Everybody was locked in their houses, so there was communication. Transactions were done online. Digital signatures were suddenly accepted. Before, there were trust issues about paying online. Now everybody's comfortable with that. Just like what Ernest mentioned, Gcash has been there for the longest time, but nobody was using it. Now everybody's using Gcash. Now, so the challenge now that we're facing is that for the real affordable, I mean, and the economic housing, that's a real demand. However, that market is not yet used to this type of technology. That Filipino mentality of still wanting to have that first time buying experience. The oldies wanting to see the actual showroom. Yes, there are virtual tours, which is acceptable now for the maybe middle to upscale markets. But the traditional ones, that's a challenge that we're facing now. The mobility, that they cannot do actual inspections. But then again, without this connectivity and technology, I don't know what would have happened to real estate for the past 16 months. Walang transaction, we're dead.
Right. It would have been near impossible, really, if you think about it.
Yes.
It also makes me think, in the pandemic 100 years ago, what did people do then, right? It must have been, it's unimaginable for us today, really, that experience. But Manny, I'd like to go back to you because given the challenges that David and Andy shared, both national and regional, could you help us understand exactly how Globe master plans the right technology in the properties? And is it the same type of technology or standards across all types of developments?
Okay. The process of master planning for digital infrastructure readiness, especially for property development, should really start from the beginning as part of an overall development master plan. The definition of the high-level design and low-level design for what is needed for digital-ready property development should be done in similar fashion as that for electrical, electromechanical, water, plumbing, sanitation, and the rest of the traditional utilities and amenities for a planned development. And that is by taking into consideration all the requirements to provide for intelligent property management. Always begin with what you wanted to do, what you want to showcase as part of the development. As Andy was saying, the first time experience of being able to look into it. And you need to be able to prepare for that. It's not similar previously when you build all the electrical, the water, the plumbing, sanitation, and then later on, after the development master plan is being completed, then you say maybe we also need to bring in the telephone company or the cable company, and in this time the digital service provider. It doesn't work that way today. Even the standards for building industry cabling systems have evolved. So that's why when Ernest was talking about you have still a cable plug, cable outlet in there and a phone jack for that. That's 1984 technology, guys. Today, when you start looking to digital infrastructure, you have to do away with that and you have to adapt to the latest standards. The difference also is that if you're planning for a residential development, the requirements for a connected living might be different from what had been if you're planning for, let's say, an industrial park development. The bit is different. So that then you have to be able to list down and identify what would be the requirements for digital connectivity for the different categories and classes of the developments that you need to do. And that's where we start to begin the high-level design and the low-level design by looking what is really required to deliver that as a fundamental. If we're talking about developing a new campus, for example, the University of Santo Tomas was developing a campus Santa Rosa and in General Santos. When we started looking into it, they didn't look about just the electricity, the roadwork, and the rest. We're looking at it even from the ICT, and we're planning it to deliver a cloud campus environment for them. And that's how it all begins. But the important thing, there are very important fundamentals that you should not miss. Basic connectivity via fiber is key because without fiber, you cannot even talk about anything else today. That's very important. Data privacy and security is part of the consideration so that then when you start looking into this and making your master plan, you have to have the best early collaboration with the digital service providers such as Globe who understands the emerging consumer and business trends from the get-go and to ensure that together we can master plan and develop and build a digital future-ready property in the future.
As they say, begin with the end in mind, right?
Exactly.
So we know that Globe continuously embarks on strategic partnerships with developers, like some of our panelists here today, because Globe is steadfast in its commitment to empowering more real estate developments with the right digital solutions. So, Franco, I'd like to ask you, just coming off Manny's answer there on how Globe master plans the right technology in different properties. For you in Cebu Landmaster, did you experience this with Globe?
Yes. Thank you again for asking that. No, I've been working with Globe on a hands-on basis for more than 10 years. And, before we would engage or start talking to Globe, just maybe 6 months before a project is done. No? And that's quite of a short time frame. And, we're talking about our projects now, even 4 years before we are done. Before we're constructing the building, we already have a pipeline with Globe in the master planning, identifying the sizes of the telco areas, the cabling systems needed from our side and their side. So, and thankfully, we had like a pre-fireside chat with Ernest before this, and it's really vision, no? Thanks to Ernest, because we're even taking that a step further. So we have the normal provisions. We're planning way ahead of time, more than 30, 40 projects, but no, how to enhance it. So we talked about the built-in broadband, meaning when your buyer moves in, the broadband is there. It's wired. And as Ernest had our informal chat with us, it's designed like a hotel where your access points are in the right places. This connectivity, the bandwidth is at its best. So I guess this is where the vision starts from the top. And this is where developer partners are open-minded. No, we have to be open-minded. No, what's a little increase in cost when my buyer will be happy? Right now, our properties are very wired. I did not hear any complaints about kids not being able to connect to their virtual classes. That for me is a good testament to for a good output of all our master planning with Globe.
Yeah, that's really the proof in the pudding, right? If the kids don't complain about the internet, then
not just the kids and the moms and the moms.
It's the moms getting stressed out when they can't connect. But look, I'm really curious about, I'd like to unpack how this collaboration works, right? If this is a really viable option, because this next question, it's a pretty disputed topic among Filipino netizens, especially in the provinces, because I'm sure you guys are all aware that, there's people who are incessantly demanding a stronger telco signal in the rural areas. But we also know that in order to provide a stronger signal to be able to reach these rural areas and the different regions in the country, it would take a large amount of capital on the end of the telco. And that in turn would, let's face it, be something that's passed on to the consumer, right? In the form of higher fees. So David, do you think that CapEx sharing among B2B is a viable solution for a better, braver, more connected tomorrow?
I think everyone has to do their share to be able to pitch in and solve the infrastructure problems of the country. But I think the untapped market is the overseas Filipino worker. And yes, they're sending money for tuition, sending money for transport, sending money for medical bills. And I think they just have to have a one line for connectivity. And the reason for that is it's not just for our experience right now during the pandemic, but I think more so later, when you do a whole lot more than just downloading and streaming and doing entertainment-driven activities online, and more than just doing and remitting money through the online services. There's a whole thing about running a business offshore, and that's from overseas Filipinos that are investing meaningfully in the Philippines right now, and they can't do that without connectivity, without better connectivity, and I'm hoping that that's going to happen soon in a very, very big way.
Right. Andy, David just said we're going to end up doing more things online in the future. So in your perspective, do you think that investment sharing among businesses is a viable solution to achieve this extraordinary outlook for real estate in the regions?
Yeah, if that would result to more efficient connectivity at a much lower cost, then of course that would really help, because unlike before, maybe it was selective. Other people may say, "Oh, I don't use internet anyway." The others would say, "Oh, yeah, they're heavy users." But now, during this pandemic, it was a big realization that everybody needs this. So, yes, I think if it would bring down the cost for the for the common consumer, then that would be a very big help.
All right, we've heard it from the industry leaders. Now, how about the telco side? Ernest, what do you think about what David and Andy said? And can you expound a little more about this CapEx share model and how it works?
Well, the CapEx sharing model shouldn't be limited actually to the private sector. Particularly with telecommunications. The analogy I put forth there is that it's like if you ask private sector to build all the telecom infra in the country, it's tantamount to saying the private sector should build all the roads and bridges in this country. We all know that the tollways are only built when the business case makes sense for the private enterprise to build it. But government does build a lot of these bridges to remote areas, roads to remote areas, farm to market roads, for example. And the telco infrastructure or the internet connectivity is a form of transport. It's transporting information, right? I've long advocated for government to go out and build telco infra into far-flung areas where there is no business case for private telcos to do so, right? For instance, I've long advocated for them to build the submarine cable between mainland Mindanao and the different islands there in Pasilan, Tawi-Tawi, and so on, going south. Because I think that would dramatically change the profile of the people's lives in that area once they have high-speed connectivity. We can build the local infrastructure, but we certainly cannot afford to build submarine cable for 120 kilometers with very little return, right? However, government in its own case has a different business case. Right? When they build infrastructures, the business case of development, business case of education, business case of progress for the country. And unfortunately, it's fallen on deaf ears because, again, we are not yet there in terms of thinking that internet today and connectivity is a necessity. Just like water, just like power. This should not be treated any different from the time that government in previous years, decades ago, went into an electrification mode, right? In this country, providing to bring electric power to various parts of the country. You don't expect a private enterprise, once again. They built these co-ops, right, that were able to bring power to these regions. Well, the co-ops maybe they're not the best in terms of organization, but at least there's power, right? And so that's kind of where I stand. Putting all the burden on private enterprise, I think that's going to be very, very difficult. I'm expecting that we will reach every barangay, even with barangays with little as 200 people. I think it's going to be an impossibility or a pipe dream, for instance. So I think it's really important that government wake up and, that they bring about change in the way they do their spending and finally recognize that digital technology is one that will transform people's lives. And the only way and path to it is to provide great connectivity.
Right. And it's a necessity, right? It's not a luxury.
I think today, yes, right? I don't think it's now optional, right? And that's why I'm very glad to hear that there are developers coming up like Tech and Franco and who are looking at putting this into their developments as part of the whole package, right? The whole practice was you give them water, give them power, let them decide they want internet. Well, tell me a family who does not want internet, right? So if that's the case, then why do you wait for them to apply, right? We all know in our own households, right? If the power or the water goes out, no one screams, right? But if the internet goes out within within seconds, you will hear a scream. Correct? And so, if that's not a signal of necessity, I don't know what is. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear you, and I live that myself every once in a while. Now, I know that there's really a lot of things that telcos can offer to help the real estate industry towards digitization. There's the processes, the management, even the customer experience. But Frederick, I'd like to ask you, given all the topics that we've discussed this morning about technology or how telcos can help the real estate industry, what about the other way around? How can the real estate industry help the telcos? Frederick?
Yeah. Well, I think for one, for us really, I think it's been discussed here before. No, the best way for us is to actually make the home spaces, the workspaces, the retail spaces telco ready. No, as has been aptly put by the speakers before me, that it is now a necessity. So I think one way we can really help is by actually installing the infrastructure ahead of time. No, in the words of Ernest or Manny, that why make it an option when it can already be. I think the telcos can really help us help them. No, the truth is, I think for most of the real estate developers, our designers are this is gonna sound funny, but I think most of the designers today went to school when there were no mobile phones. So I think the design of real estate is always about 5 years backward, 10 years backward, or even 15 years backward, depending on the age of the designer. So I'm so glad I met Manny today because I think he can teach us a lot of things. How to design the project so that the buyers of our clothes, the workers in our office buildings are happy with what we provide them. No, that it is telco ready, data ready, and we can really learn from them. And having met Manny today, I think he can now, guide us how to design properly so that we can help Globe, so that we can help you propagate the more use of the internet. Although I have a thought that I wanted to raise. No, that's a little bit new, only because I heard Ernest make an analogy among power, water, and telco. There's just a difference I'd like to point out now, Ernest, which is power and water is not a subscription model. It's a per consumption model. No? So that's why real estate can make that available, and the customer does not mind because he theoretically doesn't really pay for water or power if he doesn't use it. So it's by use. So perhaps just a thought bubble, no? Is there a way that we can provide data, mobile, internet, whatever it's going to be called in the future, instantly for the consumer, but the consumer won't complain because he's not obligated to pay 1,100 a month or 2,500 a month if he uses 1 Mbps or 2 Mbps or something like that, whatever that is. No.
Maybe I can answer that question because I would be the first person to like it, to love it, if people would pay on a per use basis. Actually, I tried that in the past, and the consumers didn't like it. Right? The consumers, particularly when it comes to home broadband, prefer the unlimited model. Right? Who doesn't want to charge democratically? You use a little, you pay a little. You use a lot, you pay a lot. We had that. I mean, Manny knows that. In the old days, Globe started off metering its DSL plans, and I think there's still some legacy plans in the market. And they didn't like it. And competitions too soon reintroduced the model of unlimited, and fortunately, technology has advanced well enough into the wireline side that we're able to offer unlimited plans. Like in mobile, there is no unlimited because the mobile and the airwaves are such finite resources that you just can't offer unlimited plans. You'll use up all the capacity. We can manage it within the wireline. But really, it is a consumer preference in a wireline to be unlimited or just one price for the whole thing. We actually have to impose in a lot of these things a fair use policy that's very high to prevent abuse, because our consumers are creative enough that sometimes they subscribe to a residential plan and suddenly you see it hooked up into a bank of 25 computers used for business, like an internet cafe or a gaming place. And so they suck up at the end of it, on the back end, a lot more capacity than they're allocated in terms of the case. So what we can do at DEC is to say to the consumer, and I think Frank was doing this, we pre-provision you, and all you have to do is decide what speed you want, which comes at a different price. You can start at 25. I don't advocate anything lower than 25 today. 50, 100, and if you're on fiber, you can go as high as 1G now. Am I right, Manny? We can do 1G.
Correct.
So maybe that's the option we can give your buyers and say, you need it, but you can choose the speed, so you can limit the budget that you want to spend on the internet. But I guarantee you also that once a consumer goes to the high speed, they will never go down. Because you get used to a certain response, you get used to a certain load. If there's 4 people in the household, which is typical, I don't think anything below 50 Mbps will work. For a single individual working from home, I think 25 may work, right? But we have 4 sessions of Zoom or 2 Zoom, 1 Netflix, and 1 Mobile Legends happening. I don't think 50 will be enough.
Right. Thanks for that, Ernest. And by the way, as a consumer, I do like the unlimited better as well. Okay, Franco, just going back to what Frederick said before he asked his question. In your own perspective, same question. How can real estate help the telcos?
Yeah, I definitely agree with Dec, my good friend, about the design. I guess we're looking forward to designers who are really very forward, and I'm sure this new breed of designers, auxiliary or electrical designers, will come in. But I guess me personally, as a developer, how I can help telcos is information, or giving time. Honestly, I get a text message from our Globe account officers here. Can we meet you, Mr. Franco, for Project X? So I was looking, Project X is just about to break ground. And here's Globe already wanting to work with me. So for me, let's give time. I think planning it early allows also Globe to plan accordingly. It's CAPEX requirements, and to plan it together with the vicinity, right? So Globe can roll it out, all the provisions for not just the building, but the vicinity where it is. So I'm very happy because I'm in Visayas, Mindanao. Globe has actually reached several communities of ours, in some far-flung areas, because fiber is getting more affordable. Meaning, I believe so. The ability to roll out fiber is getting more affordable. So it helps Ernest's dream, right, of reaching more communities and all that. So for me, I think as a developer, it's giving time to our telco partners. Give them space. So we have quarterly meetings now with our Globe business development team here, and we're very thankful for that.
Maybe I want to comment on both the pre-planning aspect of it. It's really important that gets done very early, because what we put in these buildings or in these developments of subdivisions is permanent. If you don't do it right the first time, the retrofit is actually more expensive.
Yes.
In condominium complexes that have copper today, and only copper, we have to tear up ceilings, unless you want exposed wiring, which nobody does in developments, right? To be able to repipe, rewire, recable with fiber into the different developments. In subdivisions, if there's no poles, we have to trench along the roads, right? If you look at some of the most expensive subdivisions today, Forbes Park in particular, we are trenching in Forbes Park. right? But that took 15 years of discussion and arguments to get them to do and move to fiber, right? But it's only because the residents want it, right? Frankly, for Globe, it doesn't make sense because there's very few residents at Forts Park, given the size of the houses. But we did it anyway because there was such a clamor in doing it. So really, if you do it from the very beginning, it will be there forever. You know, you'll future-proof the building. You know, because once fiber is in, it's in forever. You know, but if you still decide to put copper in, then I guess you're on your own, and good luck.
All right,
I may
Ernest.
comment also on that one. It's really true. The cost of fiber is rapidly going down, and sometimes we focus on the upfront cost of doing this. But put it this way: if you put in copper today, in 3 years' time, the copper will degrade, and you won't be able to anyway achieve the reliability and the speeds for broadband connectivity that we will be needing 3 years from now. Which means that 3 years from now, you have to rip it out and replace it. So your total cost of ownership for bringing in copper first is going to be really, really get expensive if you put it. But if you put in fiber now, it's going to be there for, I mean, as Ernst was saying, forever until accidentally it's broken by a DPWH digging or something else. And then you can just replace the electronics. It moves up to the next level of technologies. And it's practically easier to maintain if you put it that way, and lower cost if you put forward view to the actual cost of deploying it now.
Yeah,
There's
so
no
definitely.
reason to invest in copper anymore. That's how we view it moving forward in the future, and even today.
Yeah, there's many things you don't have to put anymore. Don't put a landline jack, right? That's a thing of maybe 50 years ago. You don't need to put a coax for cable TV because nobody watches cable TV. Everyone's on streaming services today, right? And the request is that you follow the lifestyle of your consumer, right? You know and you follow them and ensure that it's basic, right? Ensure that the whole house has very good Wi-Fi connectivity. Then you bring in the fiber to bring in the high bandwidth, and I think you've solved practically all your problems. And I think we are very much aligned, when Dex has helped us design, absolutely. Because if we design the property well, whether it's a horizontal or a vertical development, we also get less complaints. Because the reality here is that I estimate more than half of the complaints we get about slow internet at home is not due to the broadband. It's due to inadequate Wi-Fi. And it's something we've been trying to educate the public about, but but technology is a very complex thing. Not everybody understands why or the difference between what Wi-Fi is and what the broadband is. Right? They are two separate networks. One is local and one is national or on the telco side. And having to educate the whole public is very, very difficult. So our hope is that we get to educate at least the developers, who are involved in engineering, who are involved in design and construction, and that they put the right facilities in from the get-go.
Definitely. It is a very complex thing, no? And I think people like to find whoever is most convenient to blame. And unfortunately for you, that can often just be the telco companies, right? Okay, we're almost out of time, but Ernest, maybe you can tell us a little bit about what's next for Globe.
Well, Globe, as I mentioned in my opening statement, continues to look for ways to alleviate the problems of daily lives of Filipinos through digital solutions. We intend to broaden our offerings in terms of digital products. GCash is just the start. I mentioned we have telehealth, we have ad tech, we have e-commerce, we have insurtech, and many more. And just within GCash alone, the use cases are constantly expanding. We mentioned in our last briefing, crypto is coming into GCash. Individual or retail stock trading will be coming into GCash, and a myriad of lending products will be going into that as well. Right. So soon, you can do more than whatever you need inside your app, right, without leaving your home. And hopefully, we will have also to bring about the necessary delivery infrastructure to make that all happen.
Wow, that's amazing. We actually have a question that somebody from our audience has. Will Gcash be available for international transactions at any time? If so, when?
Well, we're working on it. We had a plan, and it was actually well set up, that the introductory offer for that was to be able to use Gcash during the Tokyo Olympics in the Family Marts in Tokyo. You can scan the code and pay via Gcash. That actually was working. Unfortunately, the Olympics only partially happened, you know. But that is something that we are going to be implementing. I think probably sometime in 2022. It requires a bit of regulatory work and some retweaking into the platform to allow us to accept foreign mobile numbers. But it's in the plan.
Okay, good to know. Good to know. We have another question also. This is from Teresa Suringa of Alson's Dev. She's asking, looking years from now, would you think Wi-Fi will be used more than wired internet?
Wi-Fi needs wired internet, right? That is exactly my point about the confusion. Manny, maybe you can explain the difference or how the two work together.
Again, Ernest, I think you know this also. I manage a lot of our VIP customers, especially some of our regulators. No? And every single time, it is when they complain to me, 100% of the time, the issue is with the Wi-Fi. It's not with the broadband connectivity. And it's because the technology and the radio characteristics are physical limitations of any wireless technology, and that's what's limiting it from doing that. But Wi-Fi has something else even more interesting, and that because of the nature of how it is being delivered, in our engineering parlance, we call it the type of modulation being used and the characteristics. Your Wi-Fi hotspot as what is known or exhibits what is known as a cliff effect, which means that as the usage goes up to about 40-50%, immediately the performance goes down rapidly, just like in a cliff. The other thing that I noticed is that how they position the Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi, being a wireless technology, has to be positioned properly. And if it's not done, then you will have problems all over the place. It's not just delivering speed, it's also the consistency and the reliability. That's why in the future, we believe that for the homes, for the businesses, a wired infrastructure via fiber will be the best option for you. Wi-Fi, if you are in a hotspot and there are a lot of Wi-Fi hotspot in place, then yes. But then remember, each Wi-Fi AP today with the dual radio can only support a good put, meaning reliable, usable experience. Then you only have about 160 simultaneous users component. That's why it fails. In your homes, if you have, as Ernest was saying, 5 work from home sessions and then somebody is using it for Mobile Legends, well, Wi-Fi won't work at all. It's going to be very difficult and the experience will really, really suck. And then soon you will get a call, Manny, there's a problem with my broadband.
Yeah, the analogy I use when I explain to my friends is this, right? The Wi-Fi in your home is like the plumbing inside your house. The broadband is the water main that goes into your home. If you plumb your house inadequately or poorly design that, water will not reach everywhere. If you have a 2-story home, if someone opens the tap downstairs, the water won't go up. Then that's a problem. Wi-Fi is very similar, right? That's why, in speaking to the developer, I say, you don't deliver a home without indoor plumbing, do you? So why deliver a home or a subdivision without the proper, Wi-Fi facilities? Because Wi-Fi distributes the internet throughout your home. The broadband delivers the internet to your doorstep. This is the best analogy I can give in simplistic terms.
Thank you for that. It made it clearer for me, even. Right. Okay, we've got one last question. This is from Joseph Dichoso. He's asking, moving forward, is Globe geared towards investing in value-added services rather than just pouring heavy investments in infrastructure?
Well, I think it's a balance of both. Globe, I think between a recent investor call, which led to a run-up in our stock price, is repositioning itself to go beyond telco, because we need to. Right? Others are creating value on top of our telco infrastructure, and it's high time a telco like us built that as well. And that's why we built GCash to that degree. And so over the next few years, you will see us balancing the capex and the investments, both between telco, which is only one of our businesses, but our most important business today, and other subsidiaries and startups like we have in GCash, Consulta MD or PureGo once again, and that's going to be the mode of operation of Globe. I think it also behooves us to do that to preserve our longevity and create continuous growth for the company.
Yeah, always evolving. As I said, we're almost out of time, but Ernest, please, any last words for our audience and industry experts who are with us today?
Well, first of all, I want to thank everyone for taking the time, particularly my friends Dex, Franco, David, as well as Andy. I mean, I know it's very difficult to spend time helping out a partner. So really appreciate that. But David's in New York and is graciously staying up, and I can see he's probably about to go to bed or go to a bar. So it's about time. He shows up at the bar right about now. And so just the first thanks, and I'm glad and I hope that you guys have learned a bit from the session today. Learn that telco, if there's a message that I impart today, telco or internet or connectivity at home is not optional. It's as important as water. It's as important as power. It is a necessity. It is a lifeline for your customers. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you so much, all of you, for sharing your thoughts with us. And of course, we want to answer more audience questions, but that really is all the time we have left for our fireside chat. So thank you so much again to our panelists, David, Franco, Frederick, Andy, Manny, and of course, Ernest, for joining us this morning. And thanks to all our attendees for your active participation. We appreciate that. And we hope that you are all inspired by our leaders and that you will be able to apply all the learnings that you were acquired here this morning. We appreciate your effort to joining us. It's been a great morning for me. I've learned a lot and I've enjoyed myself. So if you have any comments or suggestions, or you simply enjoyed this event, please take the time to answer our feedback form. You can visit the link right there on your screen, or just scan the QR code, which is right there. All right. So ladies and gentlemen, this ends the plenary session of today's event, but the learning does not stop here. We will continue our in-depth regional discussion for our residential and commercial developments through our breakout sessions, which will start right now. So as we open our residential and commercial breakout sessions, please take note that you have been pre-assigned based on your selection during the registration process. So all you need to do really is just click join, that blue button on the bottom, once you see the prompt on your screen. If you're having any trouble joining, don't worry. Just type your name in the chat and type your selected breakout room so that we can assist your transfer. You can also refer to the guide flashed on your screen. There's a little button at the bottom there that says join breakout room. You can click that as well. Hopefully that gets you to the room that you want to be in. So thank you very much. Once again, I'm Ria Tanwat-Cotrillo. Thank you all so much. It's been such an honor to host this event. So let us all rise in building a digitally connected future today with Globe Business. Maraming salamat po.